All right, people. So it is now out, right? So, earlier in the year, we had Army of Darkness, Zack Snyder bringing his zombie magic to Netflix. And, I think there was a lot of the film that definitely worked. The emotional, right? Those intimate moments didn't work, right? For me anyway. But man, that zombie tiger was sick. The zombies looked great. I mean, all those effects were, whew, they were superb. They were superb. And the action scenes, man, they worked. But yeah, it was a success. You know what I mean? It was a big success. And then came word, not that long after, that we were going to get a prequel. Yes, Army of Thieves. And you're like, okay, how is that gonna work? And they were gonna follow Dieter. And you're just like, all right. I mean, I don't know. Then when you started to see some of the other people, some of the other actors and actresses, you're like, all right, I mean, I give it a go, right? We'll see what happens. But yeah, now we know, right? So, as mentioned, it is directed and stars Matthias Schweighöfer. Ooh, I don't think I did that one right, but hey ho. Now, the story is by Zack Snyder and Shay Hatten, and Shay writes the screenplay. Okay, so it's produced by Snyder, Deborah Snyder, Wesley Coulier, Dan Mag, and Schwoller Fufel. Cinematography is Bernard Jasper. It's edited by Alexander Berner. Music is from Hans Zimmer and Steve Mazzario. Right? Yeah. Hit Netflix on Friday, people. Hit Netflix on Friday. So I thought I'd give it a little whirl. So cast, we have, as I said, Schweighöfer. He plays Ludwig Dieter, but actually in this one, you can find out. We've got Natalie Emmanuel as a Gwendolyn Starr. We have Ruby O'Fay as Karina Dominguez. Stuart Martin is Brad Cage. Guz Khan is Rolf. And that's basically it. You know what I mean? We have Jonathan Cohen as Detective Delacroix. Have Nomi Naki as his second in command, Beatrix. Hans Wagner is played by Christian Steyer. Who else do we have? Newark. So Tom CM is played by Andreas Newark. Yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah, supposedly there's an Amy Huck, if that means anything. Peter Simulchek. And we also do get a little throw to Dave Bautista and Anna de la Roggia. Yeah, So that's kind of it, really. So the gist of the film, people. So ditching the undead, Army of Thieves puts a modern spin on classic heist films with European flair and an unlikely love story. Army of Thieves chronicles the harrowing adventures that transformed Dieter from a sheepish German bank teller named into the badass safecracker who became a fan favorite character in Army of Dead. I don't know if badass is the word, you know what I mean, for the detour character, but okay, we can go with that. So yeah, it was. How's this gonna work, right? What's happening? And we open up with Detour. He's doing a vlog, right? He does a vlog online, which no one no one is paying attention to, which I feel it is something that happens, right? When you first start off, people, no one's listening, right? But you do it for the love, and that's what he's doing. He's doing it for the love of. But it's all about safes, right? Safes. And he talks about Hans Wagner and his creation of these epic safes, all based upon the ring cycle, which I've always heard things about, but it's crazy long. And I think you see it in two parts. So I've not got round to dipping into that one yet, to be honest with you. But yeah, we get him creating this video. So we get this backstory, right? We have him kind of narrating. We see this story of the safes being created, but then that's when we kind of shoot and we see him, and it's like, oh, he's shooting this blog, right? So it's like, okay, interesting. Then we see him do his normal day, right? Get up, make a coffee, go to a coffee shop, buy a muffin. It's his set routine, which he goes and he's a bank teller, and he hates it. Hates it. He finds it boring, dull. But he finishes work, goes home. That's his existence. That's it. Until one day, gets a notification on his phone. Someone has watched a video, yeah, and left a comment, right? Which is huge, huge. And he reads comment and it's like, oh, meet us. Do you want to put your skills to the test? So it's like, meet at this address, and we see him go and try and do his thing, right? And then so it's this, and this is at the very beginning of the film, so he just has to do this kind of exam, right? And that gets him recruited and into this team. And I will say, right, it's not a bad film. It's not a bad film. It is enjoyable. There are some zombie references, right? There's a like, oh well, that thing that's going on in America. We get that. Then we see a news report, and after watching the news report, he starts to have bad dreams. Right? He starts to have these bad dreams about zombies. So that's kind of our zombie fix. And they go throughout, there's a bit like, well, the world's going a bit crazy. I mean, so there's these references, but that's kind of it. And to be honest with you, I kind of feel that if they'd even scrapped those, it might have just been like, yo, cool. You know what I mean? Because I do feel they sometimes detract a little, just a little. That's me being nitpicky, to be honest with you people. Because yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. I think it's probably more consistent than Army, you know? Um Now it does have its faults. Like this exam thing he goes to. Everyone is super cool, like super cool in this spot. And you just be like, all right, come on now. Yes, you could get some cool people, maybe, but then think like this is a nerdy subject. It's not a cool subject. And I say that in just the context of when you think about how many people are trying to do safe cracking and that kind of, you know what I mean? When you look at it like that, it's like the hacking world. It's not necessarily, the I say the cooler types, but it's all relative, and it's just like, well, you know what I mean? There's a certain type of person that will try and do that, and so look, you go to certain conventions and things like that. Some people be funky, right? I just did I was just doing my thing at a sci-fi convention recently. There was some unclean peoples up in that spot, man. Some of the people coming buying tickets, and you'd be like, "Oh, please move away soon. Please move away soon. You funk. You really do, son." You know what I mean? And it wasn't just the dudes. Yeah. It's always a little sad when it's just a girl. And you'd be like, "Ah, kid, what are you doing, man?" And don't get me wrong, it's you know what I mean. Like a dude that smells is not great, but you just feel a little bit sadder for the girl, right? Because you just think, she's gonna get judged more for that. Ah, man, she's gonna get judged more for that. Now, she can still get it. You know what I mean? Like, hey, there's gonna be people to be like, "Hey, I don't care. I'm still gonna lay it down." So there is that where the dude he ain't getting it regardless. But with the funk, that ain't helping. You know what I mean? But anyway, I digest. No, I digress. I digress. Shit. But yeah, I'd be like, yo, sprinkle some different peoples up in this spot, man. Don't try and play it like it's this big, you know what I mean? It's this thing. Let's mix it up a little. Come on, come on. And the funny thing is as well, like the narration during this part, it's because this is where he sees Gwen, and he's like, "Oh, and I noticed she was the one smiling." And you're just like, everyone in the room is smiling. There was a girl that shouts out, "I love you." You know what I mean? Everyone's smiling, cheering, waving. So, like, it, I feel you need to change that language if that's how you're doing that scene, right? If everyone else, you could have been, even though everyone's cheering in the room, the only person smile that resonated with me, boom, like that makes more sense to how it plays, right? But we have him do this thing now. Also, what is interesting, right? So when he turns up at the spot, right, he's like, "Yo, we doing some, you know what I mean, underhanded, crooked shit. This be some spy shit. Like we being crooks." You know what I mean? And he's kind of referencing films and doing all of this, right? Which you think, okay, yeah, no, that works because obviously he would have watched spy films, heist films, maybe a Thomas Crown Affair, maybe The Score, Color of, like, just, Oceans, just whatever. He's gonna have seen something, right? So cool. That's good. But then later in the film, right, during moments where you'd be like, hey, we've got this many seconds to go and do the thing, then you get certain things happening, and you're just like, what? What the fuck? Like, this makes no sense. Or at least reference, because you just saying, oh, you've got awful timing, that's not good enough, right? It doesn't necessarily work. So you have that. Also, you kind of feel no one's playing music and drawing attention to themselves. You know? Right? So that was kind of like, yo, what are we doing, man? This is kind of silly, right? This is silly. So I don't want to hear that and come and boom, boom, boom. But anyway, right? So we get this story and it's flowing. Now, I would say it is predictable in play, like what's going to happen, which doesn't matter too much because this is just fun action. You know what I mean? So even though you predict every beat essentially, you are kind of like, you know what? I'm down. I'm down for the ride. I'll enjoy this shit. It's cool. It is cool. Right? Now, there is another bone of contention I do have because, as I said, look, we see his routine. He does nothing other than work and record his videos, right? So you kind of feel, firstly, he's buying a muffin every day. And even though it's banana and bran, that ain't healthy. You know what I mean? Now eating one, like, it's not like you're gonna get obese, but if you're eating that shit every day, and you think, what else is he eating? And he's not working out, right? Never reference to working out. They see he sees a guy that does work out, and he's just like, whoa, So then later in the film, when we see him do certain things, you'd be like, all right, a dude that, or anyone that doesn't work out ain't gonna be doing that shit, right? You ain't gonna be doing that shit. And especially what's funny, right? We see him do certain things at one point, and then we see him throw a punch at another, and both are a crazy contrast to the other. And you'd be like, well, the second don't make sense if we see him do the first. You know what I mean? So that was a little. Oh, also, if someone offers you something and you know, being in the predicament, as I said, look, he has no friends, doesn't go out, doesn't do so. You can't tell me that when this first offer gets thrown his way, he's gonna be all how he be. Right? There's that. You're just like, what? No. No. That is just some silliness. That's some silliness. So yeah, the unlikely love story element of this is just insane. It is insane. And you just roll your eyes. You're just like, okay. If you want us to believe this shit, all right. Oh man. Like, it could have worked with more time, or just, they just found a better way to tell that part of the story. But as I said, it is just one of those things that you do find yourself just being like, you know what, fine, fuck it, I don't care. Alright, let's just watch this film. Because yeah, it's a silly, fun action film. There's shit that doesn't make sense, like the actions of a certain couple for people after a thing, because you're thinking, well, they did just drive off with bags and bags and bags, right? So why would they? You know what I mean? It's just like, you ain't doing that. We've seen they wouldn't be so. But it is what it is. Now they do tie it into Army at the end, which, it's not like it's this crazy scene, but as I said, look, it does serve to bridge that gap, right? So you're fine with it. You're like, all right, let's go with it. This is cool. We can be cool with this. So yeah, as I said, look, overall, it's silly fun. It's silly fun, right? I'd say definitely if you enjoyed Army, you're gonna dig it. If you enjoyed Fast and the Furious, you like that franchise, you're gonna dig it, right? We have some car chases and other chases, so there's action galore. It is very stylish. It's very stylish. You know what I mean? Just from clothing, the wardrobes, and then just like the way they cut it and shot it. Now, it's definitely, even though Schweighöfer directs, you can definitely see those Zack Snyder influences in the film. So it doesn't feel completely foreign from Army as a piece. You know what I mean? They do feel like there is a connection between the two with the way certain stuff is projected to you. So that's fine, right? That it works like that. It's it's not groundbreaking, but if you want something easy, you know what I mean? You want something easy and be like, I don't have to think about this. All right, let's go. Then, hey, Thieves works. Army of Thieves works, people. So, yeah, you want a little heist with a sprinkle of zombie, then that might be your thing. Head over to Netflix, people.